Hello and welcome to Paper Mischief. I'm Amy Sonnemann and today I am so excited to share with you an exclusive offering from the Button Farm Club. In this kit, you will get a 4x6 stamp set as well as the Scene Creator Stencil. It was designed by stampers for stampers. Let's jump in. I'll show you each of the pieces that come in the stamp set, as well as all of the fun details and effects you can get with the stencil. The first piece included in this kit is the Elelove Photopolymer Stamp Set. The stamp set is made in the United States, designed by Andy K. Art, and it contains 15 fun and whimsical stamps inside, including this fun elephant. He's just so adorable. The elephant can be blowing words. It can be blowing this fun heart. The heart can be used together with the elephant like this, or it can be used individually, and I just added a little balloon bottom with a pen to give it that effect. This stamp set has lots of fun sayings, including huge hugs, you are easy to love, thinking of you, happy birthday, I love you, wrinkles and all, thanks, so happy you're in my herd, hello, and then a ton. So you can have it say, I love you a ton, I love you, wrinkles and all, thanks a ton, thanks, so happy you're in my herd. So they're a little bit of a mix and match set as well. So you can use one of the larger sentiments inside of the heart, and then you can stamp the smaller sentiment on the inside of the card, which is kind of fun. You can mix and match any way you'd like. Love the two little tiny hearts to add just here and there as well. Love the fact that there is a separate stamp to create the shadow at the bottom. I don't know about you, but I have a heck of a time figuring out where the shadow is on any of my pieces of art. So when I asked Andy, hey, can you create a shadow for the elephant so that we know where it's supposed to be? She made this fun little shadow. You can stamp in a light gray or a tan and make the elephant have its own little shadow. The other piece in this set is this fun scene creator. The Scene Creator Stencil is a 6x8 stencil that is created specifically for card makers. For card makers, created by card makers. That kind of takes all the frustration out of the things that we do, because sometimes when you use a stencil that's on the market right now, they're not scaled for card size. They're scaled for maybe a traveler's notebook or maybe a mixed media piece. Well, I wanted something that was specifically designed, perfectly scaled for card making. And when Andy and I started working on this months ago, we kind of tweaked and re-engineered and what about this, and kicked around all the ideas to come up with this fun set that has lots of parts and pieces that can be used in many different ways. So you'll notice that there is a top cloud and then a bottom cloud. Those were meant to be cut apart because we wanted you to have more than just one kind of cloud in your stencil set and more than one kind of grass. So you're going to also cut apart the grass from the bottom. So I know this is going to stress people out, but it was meant to be cut apart. So we're just going to take the bottom and cut the grass out from each side. Then we're also going to cut the clouds, and I just kind of give it a little edge like so. The nice thing about this is the stencil itself is 6x8, so it'll go either vertically or horizontally on your layout or on your card. It's the perfect width no matter which way you use it. Okay, so once we have cut them apart, you'll notice that we have a top and a bottom of this stencil that we moved apart. That's going to be really helpful for creating white space in a cloud. Sometimes it's really hard to get good white space, and I struggle with that. So when we created this, it was perfect for kind of filling in that fun white gap. And what I mean by that is it's easy to fill in the blue part, but it's really hard to create a pretty white part that looks like a beautiful white puffy cloud. So we're going to show you how to create that as well. The other fun piece to this is the grass at the bottom. Sometimes grass in stencils that are on the market are so big that it's really hard for you as a stamper to get grass that is the same kind of size and scale as the stamps that you're using. So with this stencil set, we went ahead and created this fun grass with a few extra pieces for like little clumps of either flowers or grass, kind of grass clumps or weeds. And then you have one set of grass here that looks like this. And then the piece that you cut off, you also have a separate grass that looks like this. So there's two different kinds, so when you go to layer them, they don't look all the same, which is kind of fun as well. We've also left all of the pieces to the insides of the stencils to be able to use them as a mask. So say, for instance, you wanted a green tree or a fall tree, and you taped it all off and stenciled in your fun colors, and now you have to make the trunk fit into the tree without getting brown into the fun colors you've already stenciled, or vice versa, you do the trunk first and then try and stencil the tree. We've left the pieces in the package so that once you stencil your tree, you can take the reverse of the stencil, line it up, adhere it down with a little piece of removable tape, place your stencil over the top like so, and then you can stencil in the trunk without worrying about getting any of the dark color on your leaves. Okay, so here it is all in black. Here's a sample of it done with the greens first. So we stenciled the greens first, covered them up like so. I just put a little piece of tape on it to keep it in place. Sometimes you can use a removable adhesive as well, spray adhesive. And then we lined up our tree like so. You can have it however you want it. Stenciled in this piece, and the two didn't bleed together. After we stenciled in the tree, then we took our stencil for the grass, added that, and stenciled the bottom so that nothing from the grass gets into the tree itself, except where you want it, like here. The next piece in the stencil collection is this fun palm tree, because sometimes you want a palm tree and you want it to look summery and very southern, but you also maybe want a Midwest tree that has the fun big solid piece at the top with the huge green canopy. So we kind of tried to give you all the things that you might want to use to create a scene of different kinds. So this is the palm tree, and we have the palm tree stencil here and then the mask here. So with the palm tree, we did the same thing. Taped off the bottom, stenciled in the top like this, then reversed it, taped off the top, and stenciled the bottom. Now, I did the tree first because I wanted the tree to be bright and green and bold and not have any muted tones from the sky background. Well, how do you do that without cutting a mask of your own? Well, we've left this piece in, so all you have to do is add a little of removable adhesive to the back of your stencil or your mask. Same with the sun. I did the sun first, added my stencil or my mask over the top of the card, adhered that in place, then I went in and did my sky, which is kind of reverse to what I think we're used to doing as stampers. So this kind of gave you other options. If you wanted to do the sky first and stencil in the tree over the top, The tree's dark enough to be able to probably do that, but you would get a muddy yellowy orange if you tried to do that with the sun. So here is your mask. You're going to want to use that over the top after you've stenciled in your sun. So here's the sun stencil, here's the sun mask. So that makes it kind of nice. So be sure you keep all of the pieces to the stencil because you will really enjoy trying different things and different techniques with them. We've also included just a round circle for just a round sun or a moon. The next piece in the stencil is this fun moon that allows you to get the effect of having clouds go through it. So we have the stencil here and the mask here. So say you wanted to do your stencil in black first and then blend the fun background. You could do that by adding, stenciling first, adding your mask over the top with a little piece of adhesive that's removable, and then stenciling in your background. For this particular one, I did the background first, and because it's done in black, I stenciled black over the top of it. But isn't that fun? How beautiful. We also have just a regular circle. You could use it as a moon. You could use it as a sun, either way. And then we have this fun crescent moon. And each of those came out of the stencil itself. So when you pull out your package, don't throw these away. Set them aside, put them back in your package until you're ready to use them, because they definitely have lots of things that you can do with them. There are lots of options for creating fun backgrounds. Like so, with kind of that night sky. Here are a few of the hearts with the elephant blowing words. Thanks a ton. I used, if you can see, these tiny pieces of grass. There's 4 little kind of grass clumps. I just use those on top of just a little hill and made it look like there's grass or weeds coming out of the hill. We also used some of the fun sentiments in the kit. Nice and chunky, they fit perfectly with the elephant's theme. Here's another sample with the grass and then a few of the little tufts kind of sticking up like there's weeds coming out of the grass. Here's another sample close up. This one was stamped with the elephant and the balloon attached, colored, and then the hello was stamped inside. He's just got such personality and he looks so happy. The last sample I'd like to share with you is the Thinking of You card, and it's a 3D card. So when you pull down the elephant, you get this fun scene with a happy birthday stamped in it. These fun 3-dimensional balloons. And what I did is take the heart stamp, which does not have this balloon bottom on it, and I just drew that in freehand with a black marker. And then on these, I just ink blended colors so that it was darker at the top and lighter at the bottom. Added a little bit of twine to make them look like they were floating. Stenciled the background. Cut out a hill out of just a plain piece of paper to give myself a little bit of a dimensional hill. And then used the grass here to give it this fun effect. Mounted it on an A2 top folding card. Who wouldn't want to get that in the mail? You can write your note on the inside. And you're ready to go. Fun birthday card using all of the pieces in the kit. Next, I'd like to show you a few tips and tricks for actually using the stencil to create the background. The next thing I'd like to share with you is how I have enjoyed using the stencil to create backgrounds for my stamped images. Sometimes it's really easy to stamp and color an image, which is what we like most, but then you don't know what to do with it, how to ground it, how do I get a background, do I just leave it hanging out there by itself? So the Scene Creator was designed to help make that piece easier. First, we're going to do our sky, and you have two pieces because we cut the two pieces apart. So you have the top piece that we cut apart, and then you have the piece that's still attached to the main part of the stencil. We are going to start with this, so the full stencil. I like to start slowly and build color. You can always add more color. You can't take color away. I'm going to use the Catherine Pooler Hot Tub ink, which I really like. It's hard to find a light colored ink, but I do like this Catherine Pooler. So I am going to take my life-changing blending brush from Picket Studios, which I absolutely love. It gives me a perfect blend every time without getting any harsh edges. And you're just going to swirl it on your ink pad. I have my Wendy Vecchi Make Art Station. I have the Tim Holtz replacement piece for the glass media mat. I have some Wendy Vecchi magnets to keep my piece in place, so I'm going to use those. I'm also going to use some purple tape from Picket Fence to keep it in place while I'm stenciling. Sometimes I also tear a piece of the larger purple tape and cover up my palm tree. I can also use the palm tree mask, but in this instance, I'm just going to go ahead and use a piece of the tape. Also, just for the heck of it, going to cover up the top of that tree, because the last thing I would want to do is get part of the tree stenciled into my background. I use Vicki Boutin's mixed media paper. It's a little bit thicker, it's got nice weight to it, and it blends beautifully with any of the inks. So I'm going to start with my Vicki Boutin mixed media paper. It's heavier than normal 80-pound card making paper or cardstock, and it allows you to have this nice thick base piece so you can saturate it with color and not worry that it's going to bleed through. We're just going to take our ink pad and we're going to rev up the Picket Fence life-changing brushes, which give you a beautiful color and a beautiful blend every time. I'm going to add the Hot Tub ink from Catherine Pooler to our card. We're just going to slowly go in from the top. We're going to start from light to dark and give it that beautiful blend closest to the clouds. I start lightest to darkest because you can always add more, but you can't take it away. All right, we're going to kind of do the reveal on that. There's our first. This is kind of more of a greenish blue. Then we're going to take our other piece. If you notice, this is how it comes off. We're going to flip it around and we're going to make some white clouds. These are going to be kind of storm clouds. We are going to tape it off like so. And I don't want anything from below to bleed onto the white. So we're going to go ahead and give it a nice tape. All right, and all I want to do is add just a little bit to the white. Okay, like so. We're going to do the same thing. We're going to tap, we're going to touch off, and we're just going to give some just faded color so it's not stark white to this edge. And we're going to reveal. Let's do a little bit more. you can kind of see a little bit of that white. We're going to flip our stencil around like this. We're going to create some more puffy clouds. We're going to use our stencil magnet to keep that stencil in place. We're going to tape down our piece of paper so it doesn't go anywhere. Then we're going to go in and create a bottom shadow. If you want white clouds, this would be how you would get perfectly white clouds. The clouds from above, unlike this, where we gave it a muted color, this is how you would give it a white cloud. So if you want perfectly white puffy clouds, that's how you would do it. Then we're going to go in and we're just going to add some detail. And you don't have to go all the way across. Let's add a little magnet there to keep it in place. You can add darker at the top and let it get lighter at the bottom, like so. You can make it go across, you don't have to. Which is the nice thing about the stencils, is you can be kind of creative in how you lay it out, like this, and you get this fun dimension, and it makes it look like the clouds are kind of stacked one on top of the other, which is fun. Remove that tape so we can get the stencil all the way over. So if you flip it upside down, it kind of gives you the bottom edge of the cloud. If you turn it right side up, it can kind of give you more of the top edge of the cloud. So don't be afraid to flip it upside down and see what it will do. The more I played, the better I liked it. And if you don't want that white cloud, tap it off with your ink and just gently go back in and kind of give it a little faded. See how it's faded more here than this solid white? That looks kind of fake. But if you just give it a little going over with your ink, it kind of tones down that bright white. Let's keep going. We'll add our magnets to keep it in place, the extra tape. We'll add some more color. This time I'm going to do it kind of dark, so you can see how easy it is to get that nice, clean, crisp, dark edge. Let's remove that. I'm going to flip it upside down. Do the bottom. We're going to use the bottom piece that we took apart. We're going to make a small cloud here to give it a little more dimension. We want to run some clouds in through here. I'm not liking this, so we're going to kind of give it a little zhuzh. Add our magnet so it doesn't move. A little bit of extra tape. I'm actually going to tape the bottom of this so I don't get any ink where I don't want it. There we go. I like that better. We can also add some fun, darker pieces over here. The nice thing about the Picket Fence Studios life-changing brushes is that they come with different shapes of brushes like this. So if you want something that's really fine and detailed, you can easily do that with a smaller brush. Now they also have a round brush in the kit. There's 10 brushes in the kit. And there are 2 tiny round brushes, which would have been perfect for this. But my dog got in my studio and the brushes were my fault. It was on the floor. And the dog decided he really, really liked the round brushes. He left these alone, but he liked the round brushes. I think he decided he wanted to brush his teeth. So my round brushes no longer exist and we had to throw them away. So I have to get some new brushes that include the round one. But look how fun you can kind of give nice detail. You can go light. You can go dark, like this. And we're going to blend this into the bottom, and then we're going to add some fun grass. So let's go ahead and lightly blend this into the bottom. See how it's not quite so stark white when you do that? Kind of takes off the harshness of it. This is kind of a stormy cloud. You can do some bright, happy clouds. This might be a fun thinking of you, kind of a, if someone's having a bad day, this would be a great background for something that's a little more stormy. Or you can do something like this with a nice bright blue from maybe a Tim Holtz Distress Oxide. That's what these were made with. So kind of fun, so you can get kind of more of a less clouds, more blue, where here is more clouds, a little bit less blue, like so. Now we're going to work with the grass. So same thing, we're going to take our grass, we're going to set it down at the bottom. Let's move some of this out of the way. You got to start somewhere, and I always start with something that's a little less dark because I can always build and add. I can't take away. So I'm going to use my magnets. I'm going to set those in their spot. Just for the heck of it, I am going to tape over these little grass pieces so that I don't accidentally get those in the wrong spot. We're going to pick another green. I love my little Catherine Pooler minis. This color is Lime Ricky. We're going to rev up my brush. We're going to tap some of it off because I don't want it full strength, I just want it light. So we're going to kind of tap it off. And we're going to just gently go in and add a layer of lightness. Like so. Kind of gives it your base, but it doesn't overwhelm it. So it's kind of giving you the nice edge. Now we're going to kind of offset it. We're going to tape it down again. We're going to add a little more color. A little stronger right out of the thing. All right, now we're going to show you that. So it's a little bit darker. We're going to move it down a little bit. We're gonna make it a little bit darker. So you're kind of getting the effect, the lights and the darks. The nice thing about this stencil is that grass isn't straight across. So what I like is the fact that this is so long that it allows you to kind of tilt it. So you can get kind of these fun little mounds of grass and give it a little bit extra texture. Let's do that again, get a little bit darker. Okay, so you can kind of get little bits of, this grass doesn't grow all in one way. There might be a little hill. So be sure to kind of move your stencil and get the most out of it. Now that was Lime Ricky. We're gonna go to the next one. And this is Grass Skirt. So you kind of got that yellowy green down first. Now we're gonna go in and we're gonna just do a teeny bit, not a lot. We're gonna tap off as much as we can. And we just want little scotias of dimension and color here and there. So we're gonna kind of turn our stencil. We're gonna add some depth and dimension because grass isn't just one color. We're going to give some different fun effects to the blades of grass. We're going to come up to the top and we're going to give it a little bit more darker color. And I should be using my magnets and I'm not. We're going to come up just a teeny bit higher on this side. Make sure you tap off because you can always add more you can't take away. So it kind of gives you that nice, fun, dimensional effect. Want some more blades closest to the bottom. Look how fun. So this is more of a dark and stormy sky because I chose the hot tub, which has a more of a greeny undertone, kind of a blue-green, as opposed to a bright, fun sky green. So don't be afraid to try different colors of inks. So I'm gonna make that into a, thinking of you, sorry you're having a bad day, that kind of thing. Where this is just fun and happy and so forth. So you can change the mood by the colors of ink you use with your stencil. So you can change the mood of your card. So remember we talked about these little pieces of grass tufts over here? We're going to add a few of those too, and we're going to go in kind of dark. We're going to tape off what we don't want. So I kind of want this one, so I'm going to tape these off. And we're going to go in a little dark. I'm going to tap off some of it and then kind of give it a little swoosh there as I get ink all over my hands. That's just part of the whole adventure, If you don't have ink on your hands, you're not a stamper. Let's clean that off. You get this fun little grassy mound or even a little weed. You could give it some fun little weeds because let's face it, we all have weeds in our grass because that's just how life is. So let's do a few of those, and they don't all have to be the same. We can pick another one and give it some different looks. Let's do this tiny one. So whichever ones you're not using, I would just cover them over so you don't accidentally get something you don't want. So tape those off. Add some more darker green. I'm just going to give it a little swish. Love the life-changing blending brushes. They make life so much easier. Makes ink blending a breeze. Look how cute that is. Okay. I have colored some of the elephants already. And we're just gonna show you how easily he goes on there. He needs a little bit of bright sunshine. The one thing I would recommend before you move from one project or one color to the next. If you're working in greens, it's not a big deal, or all in the same color family, but I'm changing from green to yellow. You're going to want to take a baby wipe or your cleaning rag and just clean off your little mat, because the color will drag. You're also going to want to, I should have done this first, you're also going to want to clean off your stencil, because the color will blend or bleed from one to the other if you're not careful. So just clean that off. I even change my tape because sometimes there's color on the tape that you have no idea exists. We're going to get out our yellow and a little bit of orange. Let's see, that's orange peel. And let's use tiara and orange peel. Let's see how those look. Well, you know what? Let's do the one that has the clouds in it. That might be kind of fun. Let's do that. I haven't done it this way yet, so we'll all learn something new together. All right, so we're going to add the sun right about there, and we're going to just rev up our blending tool. I'm going to tap off. We're going to start lightly and see how you like it. I kind of like that, because on this one I don't want something really dark, because it's a cloudy day. You wouldn't want something, say, bright like this on a stormy day. So I'm just going to kind of give it a light hint like that. And that was with the Tiara from Catherine Pooler. I do love Catherine Pooler's inks a lot. She does a fantastic job of colors and blending and so forth. This one is orange peel. I'm just going to add just a skosh or a hint of veining. With that other color to kind of give it more of a little bit of a depth. It's kind of like the clouds. The sun's not just one color. It has depth and dimension. Then you can go back in if you want and add with your reverse stencil or your mask. You can put it there and you can add just a little bit more of the clouds coming into it. So let's try that. We're just going to put a teeny bit of adhesive to the back, and I'm just going to put my finger on it so it's not quite so sticky. We're going to get the dog hair out of the adhesive that I just put there with my finger. We have lots of dogs at the house right now because kids' dogs are here and my dog is here, and it's kind of a crazy town at the moment, but you know, it's all good. Everyone's happy and safe and healthy, and that's all that matters. Okay, so we've got our stencil in place. We're going to go back to our blue, which is Hot Tub, and we're just going to add just a skosh of color coming out from around that sun. By doing that and having the mask on it, it allows you to put color down without ruining that yellow that you just placed. You can kind of blend it out around it so it doesn't look so forced. We're going to peel it off, and look how pretty that is. Isn't that fun? Kind of a stormy night sky or dusk sky. Now that we've got our background completed, we're going to move on to the stamping portion and kind of show you some of the fun things that are included in the Elelove Stamp Set. I'm going to get out my MISTI from Hero Arts. It's the new version with the black edge. I absolutely love it. Loved my MISTI, now I loved my Hero Arts MISTI. We are going to do some stamping. Next, we're going to stamp a few elephants to be able to show you how the balloon attaches to the elephant if you want the two together. So we're going to put our little Ellie down here. We're going to take our Hero Arts MISTI. We'll load the elephant on the MISTI. We're going to ink it and stamp it. Next we're going to place the balloon over the top of the elephant. And if you line it up just so, the two look like they are supposed to be together. And there you have the elephant together. Now, if you're stamping it, a lot of times I like to have a fun little shadow. And I have a hard time placing the shadow each time. So when Andy designed the stamp set, she also designed this piece at the bottom. And when you first get it out of the package, you're going to go, what is that for? Well, this will actually be your shadow piece. Some people can just easily brush in a shadow. Andy's really great at that. I'm always asking her, okay, so where does the shadow go? So this way, she had the shadow done for me. So I'm going to put that in its place. I'm going to find a light colored ink. I'm going to use the Catherine Pooler Twilight. I'm going to stamp it lightly the first time. And you get just this fun, light shadow. If you want it a little bit darker, you can go back in and stamp it a second time. Like that. Isn't that fun? Just kind of gives it the shadow, it takes the pressure off. So that's how you would put the two together. Another tip I have for you, a lot of times I'll stamp the elephant and the balloon together and I'll cut it out and mount it 3D. Well, if you can see, there's a slight shadow that the lights give it on its own. So I also have been able to figure out, depending on how you turn your card, where the light source gives the shadow. So you can also take just a Copic marker and you can draw in your shadow. Say the light source is coming from this way, it's going to give you your shadow here. If the light source is coming from this way, you're going to see more of a shadow here and here. So I learned a lot about light when I was playing with this, depending on how I turned it and where my light source was coming from. So you could also do it that way without the stamp, and I've just drawn in the light source kind of here at the bottom. You can see that a little bit, where the shadow gives the most definition underneath the 3D elephant. So that's another way you can use the elephant to create your own shadow. If you decide you want to use the balloon by itself, it was designed to fit perfectly with the elephant, but you don't have to use it that way. So it was designed to do this, but I love it like that, but I don't always want to use it like that. So I stamped a bunch of the hearts, and I'm just going to go in and freehand a bottom to make it look like a balloon bottom. And I'm going to add some twine. So this is going to be covered up anyway, and I am no artist, people. I am the first to admit that. But it's going to be covered up, so I'm not all that concerned about it. You can make it look however you want. You can make it square, you can make it rounded. Whatever works for you. I just wanted to be able to add twine to it and have something stable to hold the twine to. And because this paper is nice and thick, it will allow you to do that and not bend or crinkle. Okay, so there are all of our balloons that actually have the bottom on it. I tried watercoloring them with watercolor paper, and they look pretty, but I am not great with watercolors. It was fun. I had fun. I learned a lot. I have all of these fun pieces to show, but it wasn't my favorite. I tend to work a lot with Copic markers, so I'm better at that than I am at watercolor. But I like the effect of the watercolor. It's not my favorite because I'm not good at it. I still have lots of practice and I'll still continue to play with watercolor. But Copic was fun. I enjoyed that a lot. And then I realized I can ink blend just like I did the backgrounds. And look at how stunning these are. I ink blended a bunch of them, cut them out, and they're ready to go. Add a piece of twine and look how pretty. Make a little balloon bouquet, have your little elephant holding it. So much fun. So let's show you how to blend a little bit so that you get that nice, pretty, even flow without all of the hassle. Now that I've got all of my pieces drawn in, I'm going to go ahead and ink blend the balloons to make them look pretty and fun. And last time I used Catherine Pooler inks. This time I'm going to try the Stamp Market inks. And I have the mini cubes, and I'm just going to get my brush all revved up. I'm going to start off the page, and I'm going to start with the light color on the bottom. And there are no rules. You just kind of go at it and see what you like. If you don't like it, add a different color. If you want it darker, add more color. The nice thing about this is that when you do this, it also gets the outside, so you don't have that harsh white edge around the outside of your balloon when you go to color it, or cut it, I'm sorry. All right, so that is fresh pink. And we're gonna go in with a little party pink. And I put a piece of paper over the top just so I don't overdo it. Now when I'm using pinks, I go from light to dark, and I start with the light, but I put the dark right on top of the same brush that I did the light. So I start off the page and then I bring it down. Same thing, you can always add more, you cannot take it away. So start light with a light hand. Like so. Add a little dark at the top if you like. And if you want to go back in with a little bit more of the light color to blend it more, I just kind of brush off my darker color and I go back in with some more light. Nice fun blend. So put those away. Let's do one in the middle with bubblegum and coral reef. Let's try that. So we'll start with the lighter color. I'm going to take another brush, a clean brush. I'm going to start with the bubblegum, which is this really fun pinky coral. We're going to just add the coral to the bottom, start light and get darker. With these brushes, you don't have to smush them, you just have to lightly swirl like so. All right, and that was bubblegum, so we're going to switch to coral reef. We're going to move our paper. We'll do the same thing. I'm going to bring that darker color in at the top. Kind of blend it downward. Like so, and if you want to add a third color, you could even go in with Cherry Kisses. Three colors are always fun. So add that third color at the very top. Next, let's try citrine and melon. Citrine is kind of a yellow, so let's see how this looks. Oh, it's a pretty yellow. These are brand new in my stash, so I thought I would play today. And since it's a light yellow, you can go a little heavier handed if you want a little darker. That's pretty. Okay, then we'll go to melon, which is more of an orange, and I'm just going to put that in the middle, and then we're going to top it off with maybe a little cherry kisses. I always test it on a scrap piece first to see if I think it'll go together. All right, so with this one, we're going to start from the side and just do the middle section. I got a little heavy-handed right there, so kind of make sure you're only giving it just gentle swirls. Then we're going to take our red brush, back to that, and that is Cherry Kisses. I'm going to tap that off because I know that's pretty bright. And gently add some color to the top. So you're getting these fun variegated balloons by adding different colors to the ink blend. So what I encourage you to do is to test them out, try it, see what you think, and see what kinds of blends you have. The different colors along the way. Distress oxides work beautifully with this. And I just went back in and hand trimmed them, fussy cut them, stamped some sentiments on them. You can stamp them like this. I even ink blended these while they were attached to the elephant. I just masked off the trunk. Fun and quick. So that's something to think about as well. Now let's put them all together. So now we're ready with all of our pieces. We have the stamped and colored elephant with a thanks sentiment in the balloon. I tied some twine to the bottom of a few of the balloons. Now we're going to kind of play with the layout. Before we do any adhering though, I want to give Ellie a shadow. So I kind of want to decide where Ellie's going to go. That looks about right. Then I'm going to take my shadow and I'm just going to scooch Ellie up a little bit. And I'm going to place my shadow where I want it. I'm going to put my card in my MISTI from Hero Arts like so. I'm going to close the door so that I get it in the perfect spot. I'm going to take the Twilight ink again because I really like that color. And we're going to stamp the shadow. And since it's on the green, I might have to stamp it a few times to get the color dark enough to show through the green. Okay, I'm happy with that. It looks a little weird at the moment, but hang in there with me. We're going to move the MISTI out of the way. Then we're going to place Ellie. And I like my elephant to be 3D mounted, so I'm going to use a little bit of foam tape to pop her up. Then we're going to place Ellie right above the shadow. Okay, so now you've got Ellie and she's all 3D'd and she's got the perfect shadow. But I want it to look like she was blowing up a bunch of balloons. So I went ahead and cut out a few of the other balloons, added some twine. I'm going to add some foam tape to the back of the balloon, but I only want the foam tape to be on the side that's not touching the other balloon. Otherwise it'll be too thick. So when you're happy with your placement, I kind of like that. We're going to take this off. We're going to add a little adhesive up on this side so that it just gives it a little anchor on the thanks balloon. We're going to do the same with this. Take the paper off, add a little adhesive right at the bottom where it touches that thanks, like so. Now you can either glue the little strings where you want them or just let them fall free, like so. You can give this little guy a trim. Like that. I might go back in with a little bit of wet glue and place those. And there you have a finished card using the Elelove Stamp Set by Andy K. Art, as well as the Scene Building Stencil that is an exclusive to the Button Farm Club this month. And we hope that you enjoy lots of hours of scene building and stamping, creating cards for those you love. Just send a little kindness. We hope you enjoy the Sending Huge Hugs card kit as much as we do.